everybody. Welcome to NABE. We're so glad to have you with us. Thank you for joining us for the show, because you are going to learn a lot about this wonderful organization, the Niagara Area Business Exchange, and you're going to meet some of the members and find out about their individual businesses, which is really, really great. I'd like to introduce my guests today. I have Chase Bowman from ACS. Welcome.
Good morning, Judy.
Glad to have you here.
Good to be here.
And Phil Russell, Independent Financial Consultant. Welcome.
Good morning. Thank you.
And Chris Ronsky from Upstate Design Studios.
Thanks for
Welcome.
having me.
Glad to have you all here. You know, why don't we start first and talk a little bit about the organization, just in case you may probably heard of it, but maybe are not familiar with all the things that the Niagara Area Business Exchange does. So I'd like to start with maybe telling a little bit about your meetings. Tell us when and where.
Well, we meet every Wednesday between the Keenan Center and LCTV, and also at the Dale Center.
Okay, and that's right in Lockport.
It is. It's all Lockport based, but we serve all of the greater Niagara County area.
Awesome, awesome. And now people can join from a lot of different businesses, but you only have one representative. Is that true?
That's correct, Judy.
Okay.
That's correct.
So, but there are still openings for other businesses that are not currently represented,
Absolutely,
right?
absolutely. And it can be any business, commercial, industrial, retail.
Wonderful, awesome. Phil, tell us a little bit about what is a meeting like when you all get together on a Wednesday morning? What all happens?
What all happens is, well, it starts off, it's fun, and we start promptly at 8 and we're done promptly at 9.
Okay.
The reason because people have to get to work, things
Sure,
like that.
absolutely.
That's the most important thing.
And that's a
starting on
great
time.
benefit, because a lot of times people will think about joining an organization, but it doesn't really fit into their day. And this way, you're taking care of business before the business day starts, which is great.
Right, and those that can get there early, there's a little networking that goes on before. Say, for instance, quarter to 8 at the Dale, or here at LCTV, or at the Keenan. So we start early, and the meeting itself starts promptly at 8, as I said. And then what we'll do is we might have a little bit of business to conduct first. And then we move right into telling what we do and what's going on in our business currently.
Yeah.
And that's the first phase. The second phase, we go around and we exchange leads. For instance, somebody might have a need to get a new dog. So we have Fort Hyde Kennel available. So there's a kennel, and Ellie Hyde knows where practically every dog is matches.
Yes.
And their staff, what they're able to do is they're able to match it. So we know that we can trust the people that we're talking about.
That's great.
And that's the first thing, is because when you're working with people, trust is the most important thing. You have to know that you're trusting somebody, because it's too easy to go in and just buy something off the shelf or go in to get something. You want to make sure that the person is going to stand behind their product.
Absolutely. And that's really great that during the meetings you get to know each other so well that you feel comfortable making those recommendations to people that you know.
Yeah. So and so that way the first two sections take up about a half an hour of our time. And then we have a little discussion, sometimes again, continuation of the business for a few minutes. Mm-hmm. And then each individual has about 20 minutes, 1 week at a time. A person will get up and talk extensively about their business, or they'll bring somebody in that they work with to talk about what they're doing in the business to help out.
Okay.
And so that's how we do it. So that takes up a full hour of time. And so some people, you'll have a little bit of people that will hang out a little bit later and talk with each other. But for the most part, you're in at 8. Now sometimes we're a little late, but the meeting goes on. And then you just fit in with that. Because in business, you can't control your time all the time. You try to control it as much as you can. And that's what we do. So what we work with is, when we're working with people, is it's like having a board of directors.
That's very cool. Yeah.
Now,
Because everyone has different expertise, but you can talk to anybody there.
right, they can help out. And then once every quarter, approximately quarter, there's 5 Wednesdays.
Okay.
So what we do is we do bring in a guest speaker. So
I like
we'll bring
that
in somebody.
too.
For instance, this month we'll be bringing in one of my guests, which will be Greg Pope. He'll be speaking about estate planning and business
Great
planning.
topic.
So
Yeah.
that helps everybody out in business and what's going on.
That's really great. And it sounds like you do a lot with the time that you have in the meeting, but it's not all serious. I mean, you enjoy each other's company, and it's a very welcoming environment.
Yes, and then we have social times too, other than that, outside of that, where we'll have quarterly get-togethers or something like that, or a Christmas party or something that's going on. It's more to get to know people and trust people so that you can feel very comfortable in giving a lead.
Awesome. Chris, I'd like to ask you, sometimes people, especially nowadays, find out about organizations or they look up more information on the website, and you have recently redone the website. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, my company, Upstate Design Studio, recently worked with NABE to redo the website.
Looks great, by the way.
Thank you. What we wanted to do is we wanted to make it more user-friendly, more available for people, and easier for search engines to, find it. We focused more on the members on this new site. We have a whole section that's just the business members, and each business member has their own profile on there. We're still building it. Business
Work in progress, but that's
business gets in the way.
Sure.
And some people don't have their profiles up there yet, but a lot of them are up, and you're able to read about them, read a personal note from them, find out ways to contact them, get some more details on what exactly they offer.
Sounds great.
We wanted to make it something where not only is it a tool for us to get members, but also a tool for us to get leads, just right from the website. And we've already had some people contacting us through the website.
Great.
And I'm hoping that we're going to be getting a lot more traffic and a lot more people checking us out online at NiagaraAreaBusinessExchange.org, to inquire about membership, meetings, just about anything.
I know I like to just look online right away and check out a business. I can't always remember when, if somebody has office hours, when those might be, or, the phone number. And, I take a business card and I file it away, but you might not always have it with me. And so I always like to check the website. And I love how you have links where you can go to the NiagaraAreaBusinessExchange.org website, click on the name of someone's company and go right to it. That is so helpful. I love it.
Yeah,
Great
and we're also trying to brand, the member businesses as trusted local businesses, because they are all local businesses, and or at least local representatives of these businesses.
Great.
And everyone that's a member here trusts each other. It's part of the camaraderie of having this type of business group, and we want to make it so that people know that these people can be trusted, and that they have others vouching for them.
That's terrific. Wow, wonderful. So it's great to hear about when you meet, and just to encourage people who are watching, if you're a business person, you're thinking about it, you might just be on the fence, stop by a meeting and just see what it's like. Meet everybody. It's a great group of people, and we think that you will enjoy your time there very, very much. So what I'd like to do now is talk about the individual businesses of the guests and find out a little bit more about what they do, because there's some really wonderful things going on in this area. So Chris, I'm going to go right back to you. Tell us about Upstate Design Studios and about the types of things that you offer.
Well, Upstate Design Studio, we actually started off as just a design company. We were doing websites, graphic design, turned into a digital marketing company with the evolution of our offerings to add social media management and marketing, email marketing, website marketing, and now we're even expanding further because we are on top of all those things. We're adding radio marketing options, and we just added on Hulu advertisements.
Awesome.
So if anyone has seen that has used Hulu and they've seen the ads, you got to call somebody to get those ads on there. I'm that person to call.
Awesome. Now, if a company is maybe has just a very simple website, maybe that they did themselves, but they're not an expert in it, and they're thinking, I want to make sure that my image is, it's up to date, it gives a lot of good information. What would you need from them when they come to you? I mean, do they need to give you the ideas they've already been thinking, or what?
Well, we'll do our own market research and see what works for that type of business.
Okay.
Because what your end call to action needs to be for you to garner business, whether it's a phone call, whether it's an email, getting a quote, or buying a product right then and there, it's going to determine a lot of how you need to design this website.
Okay.
And how you need to get people to focus on different things. If it's a phone call, sometimes it can be a little hard to get people to get to that point of making that phone call. But by putting certain calls to action in certain places on there, drawing people's eyes to certain sections so that they can read more about what you do and how they should be confident in calling you,
Mm-hmm.
you can help that rather than just having a basic white space with your logo and says, call us for an info.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You got to make it a little bit more than that. You got to say, people that have called us have saved X amount of dollars. People that have done business with us have been very happy. Here's a testimonial. Call us today. Different ways that you can do some, essentially neuromarketing,
Cool.
and get people to, make the decision to call you based on, their neuro biases and all these
Okay.
other things.
Yeah. So how important is a good website to a business?
It's very important. Having a great product is probably your most important thing, obviously, because if it's not a great product, you're never gonna, move forward with it.
Sure.
But having a great website and a great website that has these calls to action that I'm talking about, it can make or break your business. You could have a great product, but with the wrong website, it could be some sort of summer party product. But if you have a black website that is just plain
Plain,
text
yeah.
and
It's confusing.
it's confusing
to the consumer.
and it
Yeah.
doesn't have that emotional aspect to it that it's going to need. If you want to sell summer, you need to have a summary page. It needs to be based in what you do, and that's what makes us different. We don't just say, okay, well, here's a website template, let's throw it on you, and boom, here's your info, go. We take the time to learn about your business, do market research, find out what companies are doing that are successful in terms of how they're bringing out their call to actions, where they're placing images in relation to these call to action buttons, how they color scheme it, which,
It's all
believe it or
important.
not, it's
Yeah.
extremely important to pick the right color scheme and the right fonts. It's amazing.
It's a
the
first
things that-
impression.
It is.
It really is a first impression. How about social media, the use of that? You advise companies how to do things
we
like that?
can advise. We do consulting
Okay.
for that. We do training for it. But we also, for some clients, essentially take it over. We make posts for them.
Great. Wow.
We run the advertisements for them. We run promotions, create events, do all the things that you need to do on social media
And
to be great,
take care of it.
because they don't have time to.
Oh,
I mean, I'm sure we've all seen those web.com commercials. They built me a free Facebook page. It's not that hard to build a Facebook page, but it's the managing of it and responding to people and taking care of the people that are connecting with you on there.
Wonderful. Well, thank you very
Thank you.
much. Now, Phil, you are an independent financial consultant. Tell us about what you do. What do you offer?
What do we offer?
A lot of things, I know.
Well, I've been in the business for quite a while, and we've now go on completely independent, because the way things are changing, especially with the Department of Labor is going to come out with a new rule that is going to affect everyone in our business starting in April of next year, which is a simple word called fiduciary responsibility.
Okay.
And that simply means is that you're responsible for what you do.
Okay.
And you have to take responsibility for it. So you have to do the right thing. That's basically it. And so we've moved from product selling individual products, and moving over to doing planning. It's mostly planning, so that we can really get to know the individual we're working with and the family, and what their needs are, what their wants, and what their desires are. So what we do is we do that, and that's a fee for service, and we go right through our broker-dealer, which is Cambridge Research, Investment Research. They're out of Iowa, but everybody, all the broker-dealers are different states depending on where they have to be. So we go right through there. We have a questionnaire that we go through with you, and then we put it in the computer, and we analyze what your needs are, what your wants are, where your desires, and see if you can get it to there. And when we do that, then we send it to Cambridge to make sure that we dotted all our I's and crossed all our T's. Because in this, everyone that works with finances is going to be responsible for what advice you give people. And so it's extremely important that you do it correctly, because based on that, we'll be telling you what you should be doing. And that's where it becomes important, because you have to know exactly where you are, because some people just go in and say, oh, here's a great product for you. This is what I'm selling. This is what I'm selling this week. It may not be appropriate. May not be suitable for that individual. It may be, it may not be. So we're taking the guesswork out of it. Is this the right place I should be? Is this the right thing I should be doing? And so what you do is you work with people just like in anything else. You're going to make sure that you're doing it correctly, making sure that it's not a guesswork, that you've made a plan. And we work with attorneys, we work with the accountants, because they're also responsible for all of these things. When you put your name on something, it's your responsibility, and you have to make sure you're doing it correctly. And then we have the backup with our home office to make sure that everything works out well. I'm working very closely with a group on Main Street, Michael and Jim Turpek. Now, Jim has been in the business as long as I have, quite a few years, and he's with one of the oldest financial planning firms in the Buffalo area, started back in the 30s. It was another firm.
So they know what they're doing.
They know what they're doing. And his son, who, again, he's come in and he does a lot of the work with the planning. He does a lot of the computer work, so that we can make sure that if something happened to me, we have a succession plan in place. We have everything in place, so that you're not just left out there if something happened, or what company do I call, who do I call? You know who you're talking with all the time.
I like that.
So there's a very big personal touch with it, because you're dealing with your most important part of your life, and that's the planning of that financial future that you're dealing with, and how are you going to get from where you are to where you are going to be. And I told you this the last time we talked. The reason it's so important now is because back when our parents were living, my parents anyway, the expected life expectancy was in the 60s.
That's true, yeah. And
Now
many of them maybe had a pension, and I mean, a lot of things were set up for you that you don't have now.
Right, now.
Lots of decisions now.
The average life expectancy is into the 80s and 90s. Yeah. So that's a long time. And if you want to retire like most people do today at 62,
that's a lot of
and you
years
live to be 92, that's 30 years. You better make sure that everything goes correctly. And one of the fastest growing groups that is out there is the over 100 group.
Wow. Neat.
So think about that.
Yeah, that's
There's a lot of needs to take care of, and a lot of planning to be done, health-wise, long-term care, all these kinds of things. Where you're going to end up, because in the old days, back in the 40s and 50s, people work until 65. Their life expectancy is 67.
Yeah,
they didn't have a lot to plan about. So planning is what we're all about. We have to get into the planning.
Yeah. Now, if people want to come and speak with you in person and get some ideas,
it's easy. They can find me around Western in Liger County.
Okay.
But most importantly is my phone number, and it's 622-4114. It's very simple to remember, 622-4114.
Super. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome.
Awesome. Good to know. Chase, I want to ask you about your business, and you've brought some great stuff to show us, which I love, and I want to find out all about.
Well, ACS has been around for nearly 40 years, and what ACS has done, Judy, is we like to take care of people who have probably imbibed a little too much. One of our colleagues in NABE, who's one of Western New York's major chocolatiers, he says there's never too much chocolate. Well, that's probably the truth, but there is sometimes too much alcohol and too much drugs. And people who are impaired just don't realize it a lot of times, and they make good people make foolish mistakes. Well, ACS is dedicated to doing testing and screening of all kinds for the law enforcement, which is one of the ones that I brought, and for the individual to determine whether or not they've had too much to drink or too much drugs. This particular unit is called an alert, and what makes it different is that this is a very compact unit for the law enforcement agencies to use. Now, law enforcement testing is known as evidentiary, so it actually goes, if you are unfortunate enough to be chosen to be take an on-road sobriety test, this would be the type of unit they'd use if they're going to give you a ticket. What makes this one really unique is it comes with a printer. So when the officer tests you through an individual mouthpiece, your reading not only goes into the LED, but will automatically print off along with a date and a unit number.
Okay.
Because a lot of times what happens is the law enforcement are unable to actually get a conviction on an impaired driver. Whoops, my microphone fell off there. Unable to get a conviction on an impaired driver because of the fact that the unit did not register enough positive information.
Wow.
So they get off.
Okay.
This way, the officer
you
no longer
have
has to write it down. He actually can attach that to the ticket, so it's clear and concise.
Wow.
Now, don't get fooled by some of the units that are out there. We actually manufacture some of them, but we don't use them. That will be connected to your phone.
Okay.
The US DOT does not allow any phone type testing because of the fact that it can be hacked and isn't perfect.
I never thought of that. Okay. Wow.
So we actually have a website which is mydrivesafe.com, which indicates all of the type of units that we have that are for the individual. Now, they're screening, they're not evidentiary, so it would only do your screening.
So this would be, for example, I go to a party, I have some wine and stuff, but I'm not sure that I can drive. And rather than guessing, this is something that I can use.
Yes.
I can be certain that I'm safe to be on the road.
As I showed you last time I was on show, we actually have a unit that's soon to be offered for about $2.99 in major stores.
Wow.
That's self-administered. Again, screening, not evidentiary. And it's a very simple unit that you blow into, and by looking at the color codes, it will tell you whether you're at 0.2, 0.5, or 0.8. And now New York State has a graduated testing, so it's important to know those things.
That's great to have, though, because I think then you can feel more confident, because I think you don't always really realize, and I think maybe perhaps the more you've had to drink, the less you are able to decide this.
Absolutely.
And this is it's right in black and white right in front of you,
It is.
That's wonderful.
It is.
And I love that you have something like this for law enforcement that is like so portable and easy to use. This is terrific, but also things for the public that you could, just have in your pocket and just be prepared.
Absolutely.
That's the thing.
The other one that we're looking at and producing, let me just go back to the individual one, the self-administered one. That started out a long while ago, but it really flourished and came to full bloom in Europe in 2010 when France became the most socially responsible country in the world, mandating that every single vehicle in France, 35 million of them, had to have 2 of the testers in them at all times.
Wow. Okay.
Which meant anybody coming from Ireland, England, Germany, Australia, wherever you're coming, you're renting a car or driving your own car in there, you had to have 2 of those as well.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Law changed in 2012, but it's now resurfacing. And we're seeing a huge boom with the self-administered in other countries besides France.
That's really cool how, especially because so many countries would be connecting to France, people would be coming in and, get a little experience with it, see that it's a good idea, and want to continue with it. That's
Absolutely.
great. Yeah.
Because it's, we here in North America are a little slow on the take-up for that because we don't understand the way that they drink in Europe. I mean, in Europe, they seldom sit down and do binge drinking. They actually will have drinking with a meal. I mean, you go to Germany, you can actually see a worker on a construction site pouring himself a glass of beer while he's having his lunch, and nothing says he can't do that. Here, unfortunately, we have too much binge drinking, so it's really important to know how much we've taken into our systems,
Yeah,
because
so
everyone's
this is
different.
going to be really important for Americans to have to use to not only be aware of, but to make use of it.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Wow. Now, how can people find out more about the information, either, law enforcement agencies or individuals? How can they
Well,
contact
if they're
you?
law enforcement agencies, they can go to acs-.com, and that'll take them to our corporate website that has everything on it. If they're individuals and just want to find a fast look at some of the many products we offer to the individual, the consumer, they can go to mydrivesafe.com.
My Drive Safe, okay.
Or they can call me at 716-550-2611.
Wonderful. Thank you so much.
Well, you're welcome.
I think it's really good to be aware, you know, and I don't think people always know what's out there that can help them. And I think it's just a terrific use of technology to make life better, make people safer.
You're right, Judy. And there's one more important piece of technology that's coming up. As you may know, we've legalized marijuana in a lot of states across the United States, medical marijuana, except for Colorado, where they can buy it for recreational purposes. Canada is about to federally legalize it sometime next year, which means you can purchase it for your own purpose anywhere. One of the things that we've developed, and it's being tested by the federal government in Canada now, is called a drug wipe. It looks pretty similar to a pen. You take off the top, you simply lick it or rub it across anywhere you're perspiring, put the lid back on it, and take a unit that looks very similar to this and stick it in. And within 7 minutes, it's going to give you a reading of what type of drug is in your system and approximately how long ago you took it. Now,
That's amazing.
Again, it's screening. It's not evidentiary. But the officers in the law enforcement, if they know that you've had a drug and may be impaired by that drug, can then do what they call causal testing, and they can then order you to do a blood test.
That is fascinating.
It's going to save a lot of lives.
Oh,
for
I
sure.
think so. Absolutely. Thank you so much
Oh, you're
for
welcome.
sharing the great
You're welcome.
information. And all of you, thank you so much for the great information and also for the information about the organization. We hope you'll check out the website too, NiagaraAreaBusinessExchange.org. Find out more about everything you've heard today, plus the other members of the group. There's some wonderful businesses represented, and you'll really want to check it out. And if you're thinking of coming to a meeting, definitely you should, Wednesday mornings. We thank you so much for joining us today on the show, and hope you have a great day.
Thank you, Judy.
Thank you.